was sitting on your shelf collecting that dust. Why? Cause you trust your preacher more than the Most High. Better pick that Bible up and read it, 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 read it. I'm trying to bear witness to the Father. If it ain't book, don't bother. And if I can't read it, I don't believe it. Leave it. You ain't gotta go no farther. Guess what you think it mean don't mean nothing if it ain't come from no apostle or prophet. Stop it. Get into the kingdom, require that knowledge. Get into the book and retire that folly. OT and new T on me. Old man died in the water at 20 years old, new me on fleek. Me and they playing them C's do a song with a humble attitude on me. Trying to make it through the week, get back to the Sabbath to put on my feet. Took a trip to the IOG. Brothers Elijah, Danny, Bowie, Greg, Jeremiah, Julius, and then Mikael, Rodney, and Sid. Take a book to the grown folks and kids. Keeping these laws, got rid of that pig. Baptizing the word, got rid of them sins. I ain't like what you heard, got rid of loose ends. But the old man got here, a couple new friends. Was sitting on your shelf, collecting that dust. Why? Cause you trust your preacher more than the Most High. Better pick that Bible up and read it, 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 read it. To get that truth, that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Read it, 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 read it. That was sitting on your shelf, collecting that dust. Why? Cause you trust your preacher more than the Most High. Better pick that Bible up and read it, 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 read it.
Better read the word, get it off yourself. March to the book, right, left, right, left. Search the scripts, look for yourself. Forget about a PJ if you know what there. Still these souls like a robbery. Living like a pimp psychology. Collecting all your brand monopoly. Thinking for the truth, come follow me. Words of a king, get a bird in life. Came to hell and sit, get a blind sight. But you really want to wake up in the kingdom, better fight. Cause the devil, he been lurking in the middle of the night. Think about it, busy, gotta put it in your best. Wanted everybody better get it work on day. Moving never mind, you can cast a tear. Wrong for the spirit, not the lust of the flesh. Get it back, bone, leave it alone. All these fools done told us wrong. Try to get along, but it's written in stone. Exodus 20, read it on your own. Admit it, you need it. See it, believe it, receive it, achieve it, consent it, and say it.
That book sitting on your shelf, collecting that dust. Why? Cause you trust your preacher more than the Most High. Better pick that Bible up and read it, 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 read it. To get that truth, that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Read it, 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 read it. That book sitting on your shelf, collecting that dust. Why? Cause you trust your preacher more than the Most High. Better pick that Bible up and read it, 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 read it.
Shalom, 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 shalom. All you Israelites worldwide, shalom. Happy Hanukkah, the feast of the rededication of our temple in holy Jerusalem. Yes, rededication. Maury, what happened? Didn't we get wasn't our temple already dedicated? Wasn't that Solomon? In that Old Testament, wasn't that the highlight of the nation of Israel when Solomon dedicated the temple? Yes, dedicated the temple, celebrated 8 days, but it was celebrating so much, having such a great time. Well, Solomon said, man, let's run that back. Well, they celebrated another whole 8 days. They ran that thing for 2 weeks, y'all. I know that's what you're saying, more. Where does the rededication come in? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Zion, our temple was destroyed. Yes, it was. Now we had a tabernacle in the wilderness, and then we had a temple which was the centerpiece of our national life. But we were told, and that's not my lesson for tonight, we were told in not only the book of Kings, but in the book of the Chronicles, that Yah told Solomon after he prayed all night long, after he asked Abba Yah to be attentive to the cries of the Israelites, and if they had to suffer persecution, I've done this lesson so many times, pestilence, if the locusts devour the land, if they get captured and find themselves in foreign nations, Solomon prayed. He said, Yah, if they turn toward this place, would you hear him? That's not my lesson tonight. Woo! That's a cold one though. Oh my! Would you hear him? If they turn their face toward holy Jerusalem, the place where you chose to put your name. And he didn't get no answer immediately. But then later on that night, Abba Yah said, Solomon, boy, you better wake up, boy. I'm talking to you. Yes, I heard you, man. I heard you. And if I do send the pestilence, if I do send the locusts, if I do send the enemy, if I do disperse my people, if my people who are called by my name would just humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, turn from their wickedness, the wicked way. He said, then I'll hear from the Shamayim. And you know what I'll do? I'll forgive their sin and I'll heal their land. Well, Solomon was happy as he could be. He said, oh, before you get too happy, son, before you get too happy now, you run posted. When you get down past 14, 15, you go into those verses. Matter of fact, I'm out here now. If y'all in the room with the Moray and you can hear the audio okay, see the video okay, would you place a 7? And we're gonna get that what did we say? 2 Chronicles, right? Let's go get it. Let's get 2 Chronicles 7. We'll use that one. But it's also in the King. We can find it in the King. It's told again. 2 Chronicles chapter 7. Some of us knew this verse a long time. Look at what it says. Watch what he said. Verse 11. Thus Solomon, chapter 7, 2 Chronicles 7, verse 11. Thus Solomon finished the house of Yah and the king's house and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of Yahuwah and in his own house, he prosperously effected. And Yahuwah appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I heard your prayer and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. Woo, ain't got time right now. So we're gonna tie that in a minute. If I shut up the heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, that's us, Zion. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. If my people, which are called by what? My name, do what? Humble themselves. What else? He said they got to humble themselves and pray. What else? Seek my face. What else? Turn from their wicked ways. Done so many messages on this. We just going to continue. Watch this. Then will I hear from Shamayim, I will forgive their sin and I'll hear their land. Verse 15. Let's prove these things that the Moreh mentioned earlier, that most people want to stop right there. Well, that's when they, he gonna heal the land. Hallelujah. And hey, wait a minute. I ain't mad at you. That is a shouting verse. Yes, that is a hand clapping, foot stomping, shouting verse. But this is where they always stop. They don't want to continue, but the Moreh gonna continue. Watch this. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house that my name may be there forever, and mine eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. Oh, that means even now, Zion. And as for thee, if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked, that means you're going to have to do what? Do according to all that I've commanded thee, to observe my statutes and my judgments. Then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom according as I have covenanted with David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man to be ruler in Israel. But what? But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, my what? My statutes, rules of life, that which I've set up to be, that which separates Israel from the rest of the world, which I set before you, and shall serve other gods and worship them. Then, verse 20, then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land. Woo! And didn't it happen? All you got to do is ask yourself, where are you watching this video from? And you can answer whether or not we got straight plucked up out of our land. The Bible is true. Like the Scots say, from kiver to kiver. But grandma must say from cover to cover. It's true, whether you believe it or not. And that's exactly what happened. He said, I'll root them out of my land and that I've given them, and this house which I've sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among who? All nations. What? They're going to walk by and do what to this house? They're going to cuss the house. They're going to make jokes of it. They're going to be laughing at it. And this house, which is high. Solomon, you did a good job, young man. You did a good job. You made Israel proud. You just built one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's a good house, man. It's a high house. But act a fool. Break my laws, my statutes, and my commandments. Let's see what's going to happen to this house. This house, which is high, shall be an astonishment. People will walk by and go, what happened here? To everyone that passes by it, so that he shall say, why has Yahuwah done this to this land and unto this house? Oh, people want to know, why are the Hebrews treated like that? Why are the Israelites scattered like that? Why are they on the bottom? Why do all nations hate them? Why, when you even talk about us, boy, it's with disdain? How is it that we don't know who we are and whose we are? He said, let me tell you what's going to happen. Verse 22. And it shall be answered. What's the answer? Because they forsook Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on what? On who? Other gods. Do you see it? If you see other gods, put a 12 for 12 tribes of Israel, because that's where we're going tonight. The name of our lesson is The Struggle Continues on this Feast of Rededication. Yeah, they laid hold on other gods and worshiped them and served them. Therefore, he has brought all this evil upon them. People keep trying to figure out why us, why us, why us? Because we forsook the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Yah. If you all are in agreement with what we just read out of our holy manuscript, and you can clearly see, without me even having to do a lot of commentary, if you can clearly see that our plight as a people was prophesied in the holy book down to the letter, we're fulfilling it to this very day. Would you put a hallelujah 100 in here for the accuracy of the Holy Bible? Go home, put a 100 in here, and we're going to continue. Because as my subject states, the struggle, our struggle, Zion, what? Continues. And the way them hundreds seem to be rolling in on the right side of this screen, somebody knows that we are yet walking out the very letters, words, and sentences, chapters, and books of our Holy Bible. So the question is, what does Hanukkah have to do with us? It has a lot to do with us. Why? Because Hanukkah addresses and speaks to our struggle. I need everybody in the room. And Toda Rabbah, for those of you who are coming in the room, what do we got in here? 205 folk want to know about Hanukkah? Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And it doesn't matter what day you started it. Because you know, we got some brothers, they start in the day and some start in the night. Whenever you started the celebration, you know it's 8 days. So I picked a day in the middle so that we can all be celebrating it. Hopefully by now we're all in the celebration. And so we get in this room and we get a chance to hear what this dedication means to us, Zion, because this does not belong to Europe. This is not a European celebration. This really don't belong to the Americas. This don't belong to China. This don't belong to Japheth. And this feast does not belong to Hamites. This is actually a Semitic, Hebrew, Israelite feast. And it's an interesting feast because it's a feast of rededication. Because the temple, as we read earlier, was dedicated already. Why did it need to be dedicated again? In this case, it was the heathen. What did he do? Well, there was wickedness in Israel. And just like Yah said, he was going to allow the worst of the heathen to come in and afflict us. And did he do it? Oh my. And Hanukkah, which really is the word for dedication for us, Hanukkah is a story about in the midst of this affliction, when the Greek heathen was about to completely wipe out the temple and its worship forever, because eventually, they do, but I'm saying at this particular time, there was a handful of brothers who said, we got to fight. It's a struggle, but we got to fight. We just got to hold on a little bit longer. We have to fight. We're outnumbered, but we got to fight. We may all die in this struggle, but we got to fight. What are we fighting for? We are fighting for our very lives. We are fighting for Yah. We're fighting for the temple. We're fighting for the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. We're fighting for our identity. We're fighting for who we are and whose we are. We're fighting not only for us, but for our children and our grandchildren. And these Greeks want to turn us Greek. The word is Hellenized. They're trying to turn us European. They're trying to turn us Greek in the way we think, in the way we act, in the way they break the law, statutes, and the commandments. And we can't have it. So the question is, who's down? And of course, we're going to talk about that in a moment. Once again, shalom, shalom, shalom to all of you in the room. You can take out a little time and you can text people, tell them, Moray is live. It's still time to get in the room as we examine what this dedication or rededication means to us. We will begin by giving you another biblical reference. Go to St. John. Go to St. John. Chapter 10. I'm just going to look at a couple of verses. We're going to come back here. But for now, I want you to get this. Go to St. John. Because I know some of y'all still struggling with family members, cousins and uncles and friends. And some of you pastors still sneak listening, coming on up in here, acting like you don't know what. And then you get back in front of your church, act like you don't know what the business is. If you don't get right, you know you're going to hell. Mm-hmm. So you might as well go on and turn the book, because you want, Hanukkah. No, we don't celebrate no Hanukkah. We celebrate Christmas. You know we celebrate Christmas. Rudolph the red, no red, ever shining, no. They don't know nothing about no Hanukkah. You know we celebrate. We know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen. Boy, you Negroes is going to hell for that. Woo! It ain't gonna be good on you on that day. It ain't gonna be good. Got them little kids talking about Frosty, the snowman. It must have been some magic in that old top out they found. And they don't know about the Maccabean. They don't know about the dedication. They don't know about none of that. Because you ain't teaching them nothing but regurgitating what's coming out the mouth of these heathens. That so-called celebration, we'll get to that in a moment. That you know everything about and don't know anything about. And got nerve to try to ask the Morey, y'all celebrate, y'all acting like y'all Jewish or something. We're Israelites. We are Yehuda. What's your problem? We're studying the Bible. I'm getting ready to give you the verse. And I'm telling you, you ain't gonna find no verse in the Bible about no snow miser and heat miser and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And you ain't gonna find no Frosty the Snowman, and you ain't gonna find none of that. Oh, no. But you will find this dedication in here. And we're gonna show it. We're gonna prove it. St. John, chapter 10. We can get in around verse 22, just to get in. That's all I'm saying. If y'all see that, put a 22 in the chat, please. Well, we're in St. John, what y'all call the New Testament. Ain't y'all supposed to be following the New Testament? Aren't you supposed to call yourself a follower of Christ? I'm just going to do whatever he does. What would, this is what they used to say, what would Jesus do? Well, let's find out what Hamashiach did. And it was. What them 22s is in here for? I love it. Let me tell you why I love it. Because on the judgment day, everybody gonna be without excuse, because this video is going all over the world. Be without excuse. I know some of you coming out of Christianity looking at this for the first time, going, your eyes gonna be buck wide open, but some of you already know. But watch. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the, write it in the chat. Write it in the chat. That's why we came in the chat. To participate. To be together on Hanukkah. To be together on the feast of the dedication. It's in your Bible. It's right here. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication. No, more. No, that I think that would represent it. The feast of what? Of what? This is why it's not Passover. This is not first fruits. This is not unleavened bread. This is not Shavuot. It's not Feast of Trumpets. This is not the Day of Atonement. This is not Sukkot. So what feast is this? This is a feast that was held when? In the winter. Oh, and it was winter. If y'all saw that clearly, put another 100. Why? We're taking our time. We're not going to be in no big rush tonight. No. We're celebrating. Put a 100 if you see and it was winter. It's as clear as day. Nobody taught you this, though. That's the problem. Nobody taught you that this is your celebration. Your king, our king, Yehoshua HaMashiach, according to the Bible, during the Feast of Dedication, he walked in the temple. Where? In Solomon's porch. It's written right in your own Bible. And I've done this so many times. I'm glad I took out the time, and I was prompted to do that when I read the verse up there. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and read this verse because it's gonna show you. See, when he's at the temple here, no doubt he is recalling the time that he spoke to Solomon during the first temple. Ain't no doubt about it. Because you do know that was Hamashiach talking to Solomon, right? He's the visible image of the invisible Yahuwah. So he's at the temple now in Solomon's portion. No doubt about it. He's thinking about what he told Solomon and how great it was during that time and how far the people had gotten away from the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High Yah during the time he was here, which means what? Of course, in 70 AD, we're going to see the destruction of the temple, which is eventually what he told us would happen. Happened more than once. All right. Now I want to show you why I mentioned this, because and Yehoshua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch, which means he attended the feast. If you all can see clearly that Hamashiach attended the feast himself, would you put a hallelujah 1,000? Why? Because we have to get rid of this idea. We have to throw off the idea, Zion, that this is some European thing. No, this is Hebrew. This is Hamashiach is a Hebrew. This is the tribe of Judah. This is the tribe of Yehuda. This is our king from the continent of Africa. I've been saying that forever. They say it's Asia. Okay, you can say Asia, Africa. That's up to you. But it's not European, that's for sure. It ain't American, that's for sure. This is the tribe of Judah. This is Yehuda. That's our tribe. And he walked in Solomon's porch on that feast. And here was the question. And this is the question I want you to ponder on this holy Shabbat. On this holy feast day. I know it's not one of the set apart days. I'm just saying it's one that he attended. So obviously, this is something we ought to keep in mind. Let's look. Then came the Yehudim round about him and said unto him, how long dost thou make us to doubt? If you be Hamashiach, tell us plainly. The struggle, that's all I'm saying. The struggle continues. Over 2,000 years later, we still got sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob questioning whether or not Hamashiach, Yehoshua, is Hamashiach. There are sons and daughters of these same Yehudim that live among us today, Zion. And the question is, who, now y'all follow the Mori, who has the final say? That's what that question is. Who's the king? Who's the boss? Who's the ruler? Who's the master? 2,000 years ago, they didn't know the answer. 2,000 years later, we're still struggling for the answer to that question. If you tell us plainly, we'll get back to that. At the Feast of Dedication, they still didn't know who Hamashiach was. Or I should say it like this, because there is a theological, there's a theological phrase that we use oftentimes in the halls of higher learning called the isness of Hamashiach. Because sometimes it's really not proper to refer to him in the past tense as was. Because anyway, he told Abraham, before Abraham was, I am, which is the isness. The isness in I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. So when we look at him in this passage, it's very interesting that it is evident that our people, the Israelites, didn't know who the great I am that I am is, and got nerve to question him during the feast that was really supposed to be set apart, really, for him. But that's a whole nother story. We may get to that tonight, but we may not. If y'all still rolling with the more, put another 1,000 in this chat so that I can explain to you how the rededication, which is Hanukkah, of the temple, how it applies to us today, Zion. What does it mean to us today? The children of Israel, unfortunately, according to the book of Malachi, y'all pull out your Bibles. Let's get Malachi. Let's go get that last book. Now, if you have a Tanakh, it's the last prophet. But if you have a normal, like a regular, like a 66, it's going to be the last book of what they call the Old Testament. And we don't believe in no Old and New Testament, but just for reference, Malachi. So we see in the book of Malachi, what, Moray? That Yah is giving Malachi a prophecy concerning the heart condition, the internal disposition of Israel. And he has something against them. Let's read verse 1, Malachi, chapter 1, verse 1. Oh, by the way, it's more in the book of Malachi than, will a man rob God? We read the whole Bible here at the ARK. That's why we don't have a problem teaching the Bible, the whole Bible, because we read the whole Bible and we believe the whole Bible. I'm just letting you know there's more to this book than just that. This Bible is this book is a reprimand on the children of Israel after coming out of Babylon. When they came out of Babylon, they had picked up some Babylonian and Babylonish ways. And they came out of there thinking they didn't need Yah. I'll show it to you. The burden of the word of Yahuwah to who? Israel. To who? Israel. To who? Israel. To Europe? No. Israel. To Calcutta? No. To Israel. By Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahuwah. Yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? Oh my. Israel, I know that's not you. Please tell me you didn't say that back to him. Please tell me not Israel. I know Israel's not asking Yah, when did you ever prove to us or show us that you loved us? I know they're not saying that. What is wrong with Israel? Because some people say that today. I mean, Yah really does love us. Sure, you have to show me that. How come we struggling? How come we going through this? How come we going through that? Ain't no way in the world. Okay, you know what? I ain't got time. I can't talk to you now. Because you're walking in the ways of your stiff-necked, hard-hearted ancestors. I've loved you, said Yahuwah. Yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? And he said, was not Esau Jacob's brother, said Yahuwah? And yet I love Jacob, who is Israel. And I hated Esau. And that word hate there, I know y'all want to make that emotional because you want to be able to use that to stand on the street corner and cuss out white people. But you can't hate Esau. That's your brother. Deuteronomy commands us that we can't hate Esau. It's your brother. But the word there in Hebrew means to separate from. It's not an emotional thing. So when he says, I loved you, that means he clinged to Israel. He held on to Israel, but he let go of Esau, and they were twins. Verse 6. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If I then be a father, where's my honor? If I'm your dad, if I'm a father, where's my honor? And if I be a master, where's my fear? Saith Yahuwah of hosts unto you, O priest that despise my name. And you say, wherein have we despised your name? Boy. He said, boy, this is something. You offer polluted bread on my altar. Man, you bring blind sacrifices, sick lambs. You gonna tell me that's not evil. That's not despising. All I'm trying to show you is Israel's in bad shape during the last prophet. Here it is. Go to chapter 3. I'm just going to go fast. Go to chapter 3. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and Yahuwah whom you will seek, and shall suddenly come to his temple. Wait, what? Yes, even the messenger of the covenant, whom you delight in. Behold, he shall come, said Yahuwah of hosts. But who may abide in the day of his coming? That's the question. Whether or not he's going to show up or not is not the question. He's showing up. The question is, who's going to be able to stand when he does? The old folk used to say, who shall be able to stand? Why? Because he's going to bring that fire. Now go down to verse 6. For I am Yahuwah, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. He said, listen, I'd have killed y'all if it hadn't been for me not changing. I made a promise to your father, your grandpa, your great-great-grandpa. I made a promise, and that's the only day. Why? Only reason why you still around. Why? Verse 7. From the days of your father, you are gone away from my ordinances and have not kept them. This is Malachi showing the condition of Israel. Now, y'all need to really catch the moray on this. This is after Babylonian captivity. I really need y'all to see that. If you can see that this is after Babylonian captivity, the people are back in rebellion against Yah after slavery. And after having come back and established the temple, that we know that they're still in rebellion and they're still acting a fool. If y'all can see that, would you put a 10,000, please? Let me get some water. Let me get some water. It's a terrible state. I wish I had good news, but I really, this is not good news. But it's fact. You better pick that Bible up and read it. Read it. Read it. He said, you haven't kept my ordinances. You need to return to me. And I'll return to you, said Yahuwah of hosts. But then you come back and say, how are we going to return? You Israelites, man, what is wrong? See, that gets me even in the awakening, because right now this is the time of the awakening of Israel. And that's why really I'm putting out this video, because I want you all to see that post-slavery, we are now on the other side of slavery, of I would say, of a particular type of slavery. We're not in chains and shackles working in fields like we were, but we are on the other side of that. The 400-year mark is up. You would think that after having gone through that we would be all in for the Most High, especially now that we are supposed to be woke. And so when Yah speaks to us, we got all kind of dumb questions. Yah said, I love you. If you loved us, how come you? Where was you? How come you? Well, then why don't you honor me as I honor you? Who you honor you? Boy, we wicked. After slavery, we're going to have to fix some stuff. So even coming out of this slavery here, this captivity here, we come out like this. I'm going to show you. He said, you've gone away from my ordinances. And he said, return unto me, and I'll return unto you. But you said, wherein shall we return? Verse 8, he said, will a man rob Yah? You're talking about how to get back. How you going to get back? He said, first of all, how you going to rob me? Now, why did you mention that, Maury? Because I wanted to show you, before we even got to this verse, it's a buildup. Robbing Yah is a condition of the heart of Israel after captivity. If you all could clearly see that. And he said, how are we going to get back? And they said, how can we get back? And he said, you going to rob me? And then they said, how can we rob you? And then he came back and said, in your tithe, in your offering. In other words, I done got you out of slavery, done hooked you up. Now you got, a little better jobs and you got offerings. And now you're going to act like there is no Elohim in heaven. You're going to act like there is no. And so he said, if you want to get back, here's how you do it. Now watch this. I want to just show you the condition of their heart. He says, well, a man robbed. They said, how have we robbed you? And they said, in tithes and offerings. Verse 9, he said, you don't know this, but I'm telling you, you cursed. You cursed with a curse, even this whole nation. Why? Because you robbed me. So everybody wants to know, why blacks struggling? How come we at the bottom? How come we don't have our own land? How do we get kicked out of? And I know we have all those questions. It's in this book. I'm just going to show you this. I got to show you that before we get to this. Because my whole job is to help you see Zion. My job as a seer is to show it to you so that you can see. So what he said? He said, bring all the tithe. That word means tenth. Why? Because in our covenant, we agreed to bring him the tenth as a nation of people. into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, said Yahweh, if I won't open you the windows of heaven, pour you out blessings, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Now, how many of us understand that as Israel, that's our problem, is that when we don't do what he says, then watch what he's, if we don't follow him, then you're going to be in a, like my daddy used to say, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Verse 11, I will rebuke the devourer for your sake. He shall not destroy the fruit of your ground. Neither shall you cast your vine, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before time in the field, says Yahweh. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, says Yahweh of hosts. Verse 13, this is what I was trying to get. Verse 13, watch this. Your words, this is Yah talking to us post-captivity. Your words have been stout against me. What? Mean. They've been prideful, loud, arrogant, rebellious against him. Why are we like that? Verse 11, that's what he said. Yet you say, we have not spoken so much against thee. Verse 14, yes, you have. Well, what did we say? This is what we said. As a nation, as a people, this is what we said. Pay attention, Zion. It is vain. That means worthless. It doesn't benefit us at all. It doesn't help us at all. To do what? Serve Yah. It's empty. It's stupid. It means nothing. The mindset is all that stuff you're telling us to do, worship you, turn back. Because I didn't read every verse getting up to this, but he even talks about living right, keeping the commandments, loving your wife, loving your children, honoring Yah, bringing forth that which is beautiful and pleasant unto him. He goes through all that, treating your brother right and everything. He was like, and the answer that Israel is giving back to him is, we would do that, but we don't see no benefit in it. Isn't that cold? That's cold, ain't it? There's nothing to that. Verse 14. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinances and walk mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? He said, how that helping us? It's part of our struggle. How's that helping us? You're talking about, man, here we are, we keeping your ordinances. And, like some people, the Shabbat is a burden to some people right now, listening to me right now. The day of rest you despise because in your heart it don't profit. A day where he tells you to chill. I ain't mad at nobody. I believe you're supposed to give him 24 hours of chilling, of resting and thinking about him. But to some of us, that's too much to ask. Oh, I'm busy. Holding it. Loving Yah. That's just one of the commandments. How about thou shalt have no other Elohim before him? You all right, go and do that, man. You're going to be broke. How about, how about thou shalt not commit adultery? Man, sure, I ain't gonna be out here, man, lonely and struck. How about thou shalt not kill? Hey, shoot, man. And then go get him off there, man. He finna get smoke. He finna get smoke. Wow. So you're just not gonna keep none of the ordinance, huh? Thou shalt not covet. Shoot, man. Man, you see so-and-so got the blame, man. Man, one day, man, I'm gonna be balling just like that. Thou shalt not covet. Do you understand, Israel? where the Moreh is going with that? I'm showing you what our prophet was telling our people post-slavery. And I'm showing you that the same situation exists now, post-slavery. Because our thing is, if it's not going to benefit me personally, should I be doing it? Which is crazy, because the laws, statutes, and commandments, they do benefit us, Zion. It is the greatest thing ever. Even our dietary laws are beneficial to us. Our day of rest is beneficial to us. The laws concerning the family are beneficial. The laws concerning stealing and killing is beneficial. But this is what he said. This is what our people said. Same thing we're saying today. What profit is it? We walk mournfully. Everybody else seemed to be having a good time. Verse 15. And now we call the proud happy. Yeah. And they that work wickedness are set up. So you know what we've done? We've become proud because we think that makes us happy. And we become wicked so that we can get set up. See how that works? This ain't no new thing that you see people pursuing wickedness, because they're trying to get money. They're trying to be rich. They're trying to be known. They're trying to be powerful, or whatever the situation could be. So they go toward wickedness, and they break the laws and the statutes of the commandments. They walk around proud, and they tempt Yah. And that's what we say. Man, this is what we say. People who are living wrong are doing better than people that are living right. People that are not giving a tenth are living better than people who do give a tenth. People who don't give offerings are doing better than people who do give offerings. People who don't keep the commandments are doing better than the people who are keeping the commandments. The people who are proud are doing better than the people that are mourning. The people who are lawless seem to be set up better than the people who are keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments. And you think Yah can't hear you. But verse 16, then they that feared Yah, and this is going to lead me to my apocrypha. Then they that feared Yahweh spoke often one to another. Why? Because they knew the nation was wicked. So there was just a few people, and they said, no, man, hey, y'all, we got to stay in touch. We got to talk. We got to encourage one another. And he says, and y'all heard it. And then what happened? And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh. That means feared him. It means they understood that keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments was the right thing to do, even if the whole world says the wrong thing to do. And thought upon his name. Verse 17, and they shall be mine, says Yahweh. When? In the day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth Yah and him that serveth him not. And of course, I could go into chapter 4, but I wanted to lay that down. I wanted to show you kind of an overview of where our people were post-slavery and why we get the story of Antiochus and Maccabean and the Maccabees. Because if we would have kept the law, statutes, and the commandments like we were supposed to, he said he would rebuke the devourer. If we would have kept the law, statutes, and the commandments, he would have fought our enemies. They would have came in one way and had to run out 7. But let's see what the condition was. Let's see the condition of our people. Whew. Can y'all hang in with the Moreh for a minute so I can read this Maccabees chapter? If it's all right for me to read this whole chapter, would y'all put a 20,000 in the chat? Because some of y'all don't know this story, and I just want to read it. Somebody already wrote a yes in here. All right, then let's read it. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians. Oh, Darius was one that did what? He set us free, Zion, made the declaration, allowed us to go back in the land. But because of the wickedness, that's what I want you to see. I want you to understand something. I'm going to prove it. But I want you to understand our people, Malachi said, man, we was jacked up. Malachi said, man, we talking about y'all don't love us and we don't have to respect him and he ain't our daddy and we don't have to try to support Israel. We don't have to do none of that. And so y'all allow something to happen to our nation. Watch. Verse 2. I didn't finish that. And smitten Darius the king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. Oh my goodness. That's Alexander the Freak. And he went up through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Is that right? Oh yeah, conquered the world, the known world at the time. And after these things, he fell sick. Yes. Hallelujah. Y'all killed him. And perceived that he should die. Yeah, bullets can't whoop them diseases that y'all put up on him. Swords and their bow and arrows. You better pay attention, you heathens. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them. And while he was yet alive, so Alexander reigned 12 years, and then he died, dead, gone, out of here, straight to the pit of hell. And his servants bear rule, every one in his own place. And after his death, they all put crowns up on themselves. Boy, them heathens out of control. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth. Wait, what? Evil was multiplied. Let's continue. And there came out of them a wicked root. Boy, who is this? Antiochus, surname Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. The who? The Greeks. The who? Oh, them European heathen Greeks. Yes, that our people have no idea what they're doing when they pledge into these Greek fraternities. And some of y'all watching me, I know you done pledged already, and I know some of y'all might be in the midst of pledging. Nobody told you this. These people hate you. The Greek teachings and fraternities and societies and secret societies and brotherhoods, we're gonna see it. And then when you get to college, they make you join. And then they start beating you and making you do all kind of nasty, dirty, perverted stuff so that you create some kind of weird thing so that you won't violate what you've been taught. And some of you Negroes out there watching me, and some of you heathens, and some of you all mess around and put fire to your own body. You branded Greek names and letters. You didn't know who you were. You're Hellenized. But you can come out. So you can come out. You hear the more, you can denounce that wickedness. But just know it's deep, especially in our culture. I had a bunch of things I could have put up on that just to prove my point. I'm Apabeta Kata Lama Omicron. Boy, y'all trying to get them Omicrons off of you now, huh? Because the Delta variants is out there now. You don't want to get that Delta off of you now, don't you? Let me continue. Oh, shoot. They're gonna get the Sigma. Well, all of y'all ain't gonna be able to, you ain't gonna be able to play no letter that ain't gonna be tied into a disease. You ain't supposed to have them anyway. We're Israel. We are the real family of Abaya. Greeks, boy. Let's continue. I said I wasn't going to take our time. Take too much time. In those days, there went out of Israel. Verse 11. In those days, there went out of where? Israel. Out of where? Israel. They went out of where? Israel. That's us. Okay, let's see what we did. Let's see what some of the people did that was among us when these Greeks came into town. Let's see what happened. Wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. With the who? You already in covenant with Yah. If y'all been following the Moray for any time, you know I just did, I think it was a 7 or 8 part series on our covenant relationship with Yah, that we are in a blood covenant. We don't have the choice or luxury or opportunity. We don't be joining covenant with no heathens. We don't pledge. But some wicked men did. It's our history. Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since, okay, now listen to what I just read. I just read to you what Malachi said the people were saying in the Holy Bible, Malachi. Now let's listen to what is recorded in the book of the Maccabees. They said, for since we have departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Ever since we left the heathen, every time we do, we struggle. We go through it. Can you see it haven't changed? Can you see there's still people saying, more, I don't care what you say. Shoot, man. If you get with the right people, you get with the right material, man, let me tell you something, boy. Your life will be so much easier, man. All you gotta do, boy, you just show up and give them a little sign. You just show them who you are, man. And really? So that's what we're supposed to be doing in the land of our captivity? Let's continue. They said, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Crazy. Then certain of the people were so forward wherein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, knowing we the set apart people. Whereupon they built a place of exercise, gymnasium. Get it straight. Where they often went into the gym, and I know y'all might have some young people in short legs listening to Uncle Maury right now, but they often worked out in here naked. And if you notice now, even when people go to the gym, they may not be all the way naked, but they half naked. According to the customs of the heathen, they made themselves what? Uncircumcised. And forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. You see how Malachi said, this is the situation. This was getting ready to happen. Because every time y'all trying to get you straight, you want to do wicked. You want to be like the heathen because you say you get more stuff. You're going to be better off. You say, forget Yah and his laws, statutes and commandments, precepts and principles. I'm going with the heathen. Okay, let's continue. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion over 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants. You're right, they're them elephants, man, we was talking about the other day. And horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. And Ptolemy was afraid and fled. Many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt. Oh yeah, they took Egypt. You know, Mizraim is Hamite land, but it was captured by them Greeks. That's why they call that city now Alexandria and other cities like that. And that's why on a lot of applications, if you say you from Israel, if you say you from Egypt, you have to say you're Caucasian. And took the spoils thereof. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he turned again in the 143rd year and went up against who? Israel. Came up against us. And Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary. Wait, he went where? No. No, he didn't do that, Maury, did he? I know he didn't come into the sanctuary. Yes, he did. Oh, I got that picture in the other room. That's all right. Y'all done seen it enough times. I showed you the altar. I showed you the temple. He went into that temple, into our holy temple. What did he do? Let me see. Where I leave off. I keep them down, man. Okay. Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar. You know what? I just changed my mind. I got to have that picture. Where is the picture of our golden altar? If I don't have it right here by my side, I want somebody to at least put the link in the of what the temple looked like, because I showed you all. We've been doing a thing on the trumpets, and I've showed you that golden altar was very important to us because it was where Yah said he would meet us. All right, so let's continue. I'll put it up later if I can, or I might put a link in the chat. Okay. Let's see what he did. He entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light. You know what that is? That's our menorah. And all the vessels. What vessels? The cups, the snuffers, the utensils, the bowls. He took it all. What's going on here? Why is Yah allowing this to happen? Wickedness in Israel. And the tables of the showbread. What? And the pouring vessels and the vials and the censers of gold. Man, he took it all. Don't that sound like today? And the veil and the crowns and the golden ornaments. You mean we had all that stuff? Yes, we did. In our temple. We did. Which were before the temple. all which he pulled off. He took also the silver. He took what? He took all your money, man. See, he said, will a man rob y'all? People want to act a fool. So what ends up happening? Now the nation is robbed. The nation robbed y'all. Y'all allowed this satanic evil man to come in and rob the nation. I'm showing you how Malachi ties into the Maccabee. It's the book before this. He took the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. He took the hidden treasures which he found. Oh, so the priests and the Levites had some treasures hidden. They were just hoping, well, look, even if the heathen does come, at least he won't get everything. Shoot, please. The heathen was thorough in his wickedness. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre. Killed our people. See, this is the history they don't want you to see. I want to tell you that the struggle continues. The Greeks, the Romans, the Europeans against us to this very day. I'll show you. He went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Therefore, there was great mourning where? In Israel. Yes. Those Europeans came into our land, Negro land, Black land, Israel, true Israel, massacred our people and desecrated our temple and stole all of our stuff. So when you hear me talking like that, you say, man, Maury always talking about, man, they stole all our stuff. It's written down in the history of the Maccabee. It's written down all over the Bible, but I'm saying, I'm reading this. I didn't write this. There was great mourning in Israel in every place where they were, so that the princes and the elders mourned, the virgins and the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of the women was changed. And every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she sat in the marriage, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land was also moved. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all of the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. That's today. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute into the cities of Yehuda, and came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them. But all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, in other words, he came in there talking all nice and kind, like, hey, you guys, we just want to get along. We realize that, we did come in and take all your stuff. We did steal everything you had, and we did kill your people. But can we have dinner together now? Like Thanksgiving. Like ecumenical services. People think I forgot. I ain't forgot nothing. They come in talking all peaceable, but it was all deceit. For when they had given him credence, I mean, they actually gave some kind of listen and paid attention. And it was like, okay, sir. He's white. He got to be right. He's a European. We all have to listen to what the European said. So as soon as their ears all perked up, what had happened? He fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. Once he got them all thinking that he was all cool, then it was a trap. And he ran and he got our ancestors and killed them. massacred them. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and the walls thereof on every side. But the women and children they took captive. They took our mamas and our babies. The heathen. Cold game. They did it again. Not too many years later, they did it again. They took us. Then, took them and possessed the cattle, took our cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great strong wall and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them, which a lot of people believe had to do with that Wailing Wall too. Because later on, when the Romans come in, they actually had to put up a garrison, a wall that people think is well, anyway, that's a whole nother story. Another stronghold. And they put therein a sinful nation of wicked men and fortified themselves. They stored it also with armor and victuals, and they had gathered. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, boy. And so they became a sore snare, for it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed what? Innocent blood. What kind of blood? Innocent blood. On every side of the sanctuary. Now look, again, this could have been avoided if we would have just kept the law, statutes, and the commandments like he told us to. He said he would rebuke the devourer. But because we kept talking about wherein, why, how, it's vain to serve y'all. Okay, now look what happened. He shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary. He killed people. Israel, he killed us. He killed our ancestors. And then smeared their blood on the temple wall. You don't understand what's going on in this passage. And you want to pledge to these people. That's so crazy to me. You pledging allegiance to this crowd. You burning their letters in your skin. You marching in parades with this people who did this to your grandma, your grandfather, your uncle, your cousins. And so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers and became strange to those that were born in her. And her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Boy, just tore up our sanctuary. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Couldn't even have a feast. It was so sad. Our feast days were sad. Verse 39. Her Sabbath unto a reproach. It's like I said today, we got some people right now reproaching the Sabbath day today. It's unbelievable. Her honor into contempt. Exactly what was prophesied would happen in the book of the Kings. Well, really in Deuteronomy, the book of the Kings, and the book of the Chronicles. As had been her glory, this is Jeremiah, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned to mourning. Read that Lamentation. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be what? One people, ecumenicalism. Ain't that what we hear today? We all just be one. I just got an article. I didn't even believe that this was a real article. Sometimes we send each other stuff that's just, kind of way out there, right? And so then we find out, man, he hauling, right? But I got a email that showed the one world religion coming together called Chrislam or something like that. They ain't playing, they serious. And guess who they trying to get into it? Us. We already ecumenical as a people. We've already become Christian, which is ecumenical, or Catholic, which is ecumenical. So it's already enforced. Our people have already gone this way. And I want you to see that this is not something that was accidental. This was on purpose. It's called a one world religion. Now, who are the people that ain't going to be down for that? Israel. Moreover, he said everybody should just be one people. In other words, Greek. Not everybody should be Israel. Everybody should be the children of Israel and keep the laws, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High Yah. No, 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 no. That's not what they mean when they say we should all be one people. They say everybody should be bowing down knees to Zeus, your white Jesus. You should be bowing down knees to Santa Claus and Christmas trees. Everybody got to have Cupid, and everybody got to do Halloween, and everybody has to do Easter. Everybody. Nobody can reject it. Let's keep going. And that everyone should leave his laws. What? And do what? So all the heathens agreed to the commandments of the king. Are you kidding me? Yes, you got to leave the Torah. Everybody got to leave the Torah. That's why it's a few of us keeping Sukkot, and it's millions of them, of our people, gonna keep Christmas next week or in a couple of weeks from now. Millions. Why? It was commanded. And that's why I was trying to tell y'all earlier, don't let a person make you feel funny about keeping your own feast day. Try to hold you in contempt for following your king. Hamashiach celebrated Hanukkah. The Hanukkah is not a European festival. The word is a Hebrew word meaning dedication. We celebrate the rededication because our king went. Leave his laws according to the commandment of the king. Verse 43. Yeah. Now, I know y'all not going to believe this, but I'm going to read it slow. Yeah. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. You see it? I don't know what to say after that. I know I've been in the room for an hour and a half, and I think I'm helping people understand why we're so messed up as a nation and why we got to hurry up and wake up before our king comes back. Can you see that the reason why our people today are Christian, are Baptist, are Methodist, Church of God in Christ, Apostolic, Catholic, Jehovah Witness, Mormon, Buddhist, whatever? Can you see it's because we were conquered. We were being destroyed by the heathen. And the thought of a lot of people was, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm tired of getting talked about. I'm tired of going through. It's just so much easier to go with the flow. I know it's what and you leave your law, so all the heathen agreed, and many other Israelites consented to his religion. And what did they do? Sacrifice to idols. Our people are still doing that. When these feast days come around, our people have no problem sacrificing to this idolatry. None. Matter of fact, they will stand in line all night long and trample each other trying to get in to buy sacrifices for them days. And will stay up late at night and hope they can get in to get their last few gifts that they're going to offer on those days to these pagans. And you know what's crazy? Them same people want to talk about Israelites for supporting works like the ARK or other ministries of Israel that are trying to help wake up Jacob. But to sit out in the cold trying to get one more sacrifice for that day. It's a shame, ain't it? See, that's why I was prompted to go ahead and just read it to Israel tonight. Because that wasn't my plan in the beginning. But once we got into this, I said, I might as well go on and read it. And y'all said, okay, so let's read it. Verse 42, that everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathens agreed to the commandment of the king. Verse 43, yeah. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols. And did what? Profane the Shabbat. They said, man, we're not keeping Shabbat. We're just going to do Sunday morning. So now, what are we doing today? I want to show you how that's still, even today, as we talk, as I'm speaking to you right now, our people won't keep Shabbat. I'm talking about the majority of Israel that's been scattered. They will not, even when you show them, you can show them the 10 Commandments. You can show them this. You can show them Hamashiach kept the Shabbat. You can show them Paul, Peter, everybody kept the Shabbat. But because they want to be a part of this European mindset and this European religion, they won't keep the Shabbat. This has been going on for a long time. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings. What? Oh, we couldn't bring no offering. And sacrifices. Oh, no. And drink offerings. But you're going against everything that we had in the Torah, in the temple, and that they should profane the Shabbat again. And what else? And festival days. So even when we tell people about our feast days, have you noticed they got a problem with our feast days? Like, is there something in them? So what do you keep? No, we don't keep those. That's for Israel. That was like the Old Testament. Sad, huh? Don't even know where we got that disdain from. We don't even know where we developed that contempt for Yah's holy feast days that really speak about his son. We're going to get back to this. If y'all let me get there tonight, because I'll take every breath serious now. So they profane the Shabbat and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Pollute the sanctuary and the people. Verse 47, they set up altars and groves and chapels of idols. Are you kidding me? They set up chapels. They set up altars and groves. And did what? Sacrifice swine flesh and skunks and rats and dogs, unclean beasts in the holy, set apart temple. What kind of evil, demonic spawn of the devil is this? It would do such a thing to our holy place. Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. So everything the Bible tells us to do, these heathens set up laws against it. Have you heard of the saying, that all of Yah's laws are what? Done away with. And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the whole point, that they might forget Torah and change all the ordinances. Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. How the people say today. This is no different. That's why I said the name of this lesson is Our Struggle Continues. Because this is true even now. If you try to just stand up for who you are and whose you are, keep the laws, statutes, and the commandments, people hate you enough to want to kill you. That's crazy. It's still going on to this day. And if they can't do it physically, they try to starve you out or fire you from your job or ostracize you from your family. It's an amazing thing. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people. That's the pastors now. They're overseeing Israel. Black pastors, I'm using the term black, and I don't like that term, but Israelite pastors all over the world are set up by the government to oversee Black people. And anytime anybody get out of line, they're gonna report them. Yeah, so and so. Yeah, he talking about he is real. Really? And then they get reported, kicked out, ostracized. These fellas have one job, and that is to stay in contact with Rome. Well, today, the new Roman Empire, powers that be. That's overseers. Over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law. So they committed evil in the land and drove the Israelites into secret places. Boy, is that right? We got to meet them. Even worse, wherever they could flee to succor. That means they just try to have a little place of some kind of respite. Now, the 15th day of the month of Keslu, in the 140th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and builded idols and builded idol altars throughout the city of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of the houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, they tore up the Torah. Which they found, they burnt them with fire. The good news for us is Yah's word is not established on earth, you heathen devils. Yah's word is established in the Shamayim. You can't burn his word. You can burn paper, but you can't burn the Torah. Boy. And wheresoever was found any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was they should put him to death. Don't that sound like slavery here in the Americas? If a Negro is caught with a Bible, put his eyes out. If one of them try to teach somebody how to read, kill them both. One of the saddest pictures I've ever seen was a grandfather hanging next to his grandson because his grandson had learned how to read a little bit, and his grandson was trying to show his grandpa, how to read the Bible. And these European devils hung the grandpa next to the grandson. for reading Torah. I keep telling y'all, this is our book. These are our people. And history keeps repeating itself over and over and over. The struggle continues. It was illegal in this country to teach an Israelite how to read. You went to prison or killed, even if you were white and you taught, and they found out you were teaching black people how to read. They call them black people. That's a misnomer, by the way. You either got killed or went to prison or whipped. It was illegal. Where'd they get that from? Greeks and Romans. All right. Yes, and they had rent pieces, the books of the Torah, which they found. They burned them with fire. And whethersoever was found any of the book of the Testament, or if they consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death, the death penalty. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the city. Now, the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the altar, upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of Yah, them evil, wicked heathens. At that time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women. Wait, they killed the women in the temple? What did they do? What was their sin that had caused their children to be circumcised? No. Mhm. And they hanged the infants about their neck. They killed the babies and hung them by their necks, and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Trying to keep the Torah, small group of woke Hebrews, like, man, this is evil, but we got to keep the commandments. And so they was hiding out, trying to keep the commandments. But then you will always have that step and fetch it, that one I can't stand, that snitch. I think they over there, man. I ain't saying nothing, Master Ball. Well, I think there's some woke so-called Hebrew Israelites over there keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. I heard them talking about, man, they about to circumcise their children and get them all killed. And we still got them stepping fetches among us to this very day. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Therefore, they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they should not profane the holy covenant. That's my group. I love it. Every time I hear about it, there's always a what? Remnant. Always a remnant. That's the only hope for Israel. Every single time. The only hope for Israel is always what, Moray? A remnant. There's always a small group that says, we should keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. I don't care what they do. We're not putting swine flesh down our throat, or rats, or rodents, or skunk, or anything else that's defiling. And we're not getting ready to do all that abomination of the Greek stuff. We're not doing that. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they what? Died. And there was very great wrath upon Israel. I know y'all probably get tired of hearing me say this, but it's true. I have to practice dying. I don't want dying to take me by surprise. So I read my cousin from the tribe of Benjamin. He said, Maury, I die daily. And I said, you do what? He said, I die daily. I practice. I have to learn every day to let go of everything here, because it's not my home. This is not my world. It's not who we have to give up ourselves so that we can gain the kingdom, like our king did, and like all the other great people of antiquity in our culture who were willing, like Moshe, to suffer with the children of Yah rather than to enjoy the spoils of Egypt, because you do know he could have chosen Egypt, but he didn't. We have to, there's always going to be a few like Jeremiah that'll be like, I got to tell it. You're going to end up in a pit. Well, then, hey, I guess that's where I'm going. Or Daniel, you're going to be in that lion's den. Well, hey, or them three Hebrew men who wouldn't bow down. They were like, King, I know, I hear you, man. Hey, live forever. But that whole eating your food, we ain't doing it. Now, you know, if we wasn't going to eat your food, we wasn't going to bow down to you. I don't care how many trumpets and saxophones and sackbuts and lutes and flutes you play. The Elohim who I serve is able to deliver us out of your hand. But if he don't, we still ain't bowing. Now take that. The record is they had already predetermined. You read the text, they said, we are not careful to answer you in this matter. That line says, we ain't talking off the top of our head. We thought about this before we was brought in here. And all three of us already said the same thing. Man, please. If this is how we're going out in the fire. But we're not doing that. We're not doing the bow down thing. And I had to read these people over and over again. This is my cousin and my uncle, my grandpa and them. And as more, I said, boy, well, they serious. And y'all been telling me that if you want to be counted worthy to be even in their company, you better get serious. You better start practicing now, letting go of everything. And some of you in the room right now, I know this is heavy for you, but this is what the rededication is all about. This is not just about menorahs. This ain't about little toy plastic toy spinning tops. This is about the remnant, or a remnant, standing up to the majority culture that's trying to force you to be like them. And some of us just ain't gonna do it. Now, some of us are already sold out, but other Israelites, the remnant is like, all right, let's go. Chapter 2. In those days arose Mattathias. Uh-oh. We get a chance to look in the remnant? Yeah. We're getting ready to see something. Okay. The son of Yahan, the son of Simeon, a priest. Oh, what? Oh, so he served in the temple, huh? Okay. Priest of the sons of Jorel. He was from where? Jerusalem. And dwelt where? In Modin. And he had 5 sons, Yohanan, called Caddis, Simon, called Thassi, Yehuda, who was called Maccabeus. which is another word for what? Hammer. Eleazar, called Abiram, and Jehonathan, whose surname was Apos. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, "Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers? Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy." Is this what you saw? Is this what you saw? Is this what you saw? What nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten her spoil? Everybody taking advantage of Israel. All her ordinances are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave. Oh, what? That's my cousin writing this. He's trying to tell us what happened to our people. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? That man, what's this going? What's the point? Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Matthias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on this wise: Thou art a ruler and an honorable and a great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment. You're going to try to use my great uncle, huh? To do what? To lead in leading his sons and his brethren into bowing down to Greece and kings and the heathen. So, you come first, like as all the heathens have done. Yeah, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shall thy and thy house be numbered of the king's friends. In other words, you want to get in good with the king? Come on, man, you do it first. The struggle continues. Nothing has changed. It's still the same thing that's happening to us today. Step and fetch it leadership sold out to the powers that be, that end up being what? Spokespeople for our people. And we sitting around, I'll never forget, how this world picks leaders of quote unquote black people. I never understood that. What criterion do they use? Because the people that I knew, especially even when I was, running with the quote unquote uppity ups and muckety mucks, the people that I knew that had the most influence over people, they never used them. They always picked sellouts. But let's see what happened here. Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice. I love it. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Talk. I love it. That honor thing, boy. Woo! He said, I don't care what these heathens is doing. And me and my brothers, my sons, nah, we ain't going out like that. We will not hearken unto the king's word to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. Where do you get that from? Deuteronomy. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one Jew in the sight of all of them to sacrifice on the altar. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me a stepping fetcher just took off running and then sacrificed some kind of pig on the altar? Oh, he trying to get in good with the heathen. I told you, it's always, they're always going to be there. Which thing when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal and rent, and his reins trembled. Oh, you done got, whoo, you done got my great uncle mad, boy. When he saw that step and fetch it run through there, it's always that, yes, I'll do it. And Matthias won't do it, I'll do it. Give me that pig, I'll cut him on the altar. Stand that one right there. Oh my goodness gracious. What's this? And when Matthias saw it, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to the judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed. Oh, no, he didn't. At that time. And the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for Torah of Yahuwah, like Phoenix did to Zambri, the son of Salem. And Matthias cried throughout all the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of Torah and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because of the afflictions increased sore upon them. Wait a minute. That sounds like to me. That remnant said, wait, no, we ain't gonna have this. When you continue to read, and we won't keep going today, but we're going to continue to read, you're going to see that the old man gets killed. And that's when we find his son, Judah follows in the footsteps of the old man. And what does he do? He then goes back into the temple, cleans it to the best of his ability, and then holds a dedication for the temple. Time will fail me to be here all night with you on this night. I may do a follow-up tomorrow. We can continue. But it was because of this remnant, I want you to see, that they were so zealous for Yah, his temple, the commandments, the law, that they were able to start a war, a battle. It was more like a battle that actually preserved our way of life in Jerusalem a few more years, which enabled us to keep the temple in place so that when Hamashiach got here, he could fulfill the scriptures concerning he entered into the temple. And when Hamashiach got into the temple, remember one of the things he said? He said, oh, Jerusalem, how often I will gather you together like a hen does her chicks, but you won't let me. Therefore, what? Your city, this temple, will be left desolate. Why? Because again, he comes in the zeal of Yah's house had eaten him up. Remember, that's prophecy. So when he goes into the temple, I'm going into what y'all call the New Testament now. When we see him in John, he's entering into the temple to recognize the work of the remnant of the Maccabees. He is thinking about Solomon. He's in Solomon's porch, but he also knows that the stiff-necked ancestors of ours are going to choose Barabbas over him, and therefore open Israel to destruction once again. And he told him, but this time, ain't gonna be no hope for you this time. There will not be another Maccabean revolt. He said, as a matter of fact, when y'all see this coming, when what? The abomination of desolation. I ain't got time, but I told you there's more than one abomination of desolation. Because Hamashiach said, when you see this happening, you better, this time he said, you better run. Why? Because I'm not going to fight for you. If you're on the rooftop, boy, you better take off. Don't even go in the house. And you better hope you're not trying to nurse a child during that. And he said, you better, and the day not on your Shabbat. And you better hope they don't come down here in the wintertime. Why? Because to reject Hamashiach was to remove his armor protection away from Israel, to allow the heathen to come in. They came in, they sacked our holy land, they threw down the temple, they took the stones of the temple, threw them down so that not one was left on top of another. In 70 AD, they enslaved our people, scattered us all over the world. And what does this mean to us? We're waking up now. So what should we be doing? Realizing that we're the temple. I'll pick this up later. I kept you long enough tonight. We don't know that yet, even though our cousin told us this in the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 3. If you get in around verse 16, he's going to say, you don't know that you're the temple. So everything that those Greeks did to the physical temple, they're now doing to us, the spiritual temple, the body. And I know somebody's going to say, Maury, what? Yes. They've entered into your temple. Got you bowing down to idols. The idols are inside the temple now. You eat swine flesh. That's worse than putting it on an altar. You put it in your soul, in your spirit, in your gut, and all sorts of abominable things. You bow down to Santa Claus. Even though I done did so many videos on this, it's a mockery against you. I don't know what is wrong with Israel. Do you see what these people who worship this thing do? They put on blackface. That's called Black Pete. Look it up. To see one Hebrew Israelite in captivity participating in a festival that literally has hundreds of people mocking them as a slave working for a demon. But won't keep the rededication of the temple. You see these heathens, they make themselves into what's called swarthy Pete or Black Pete. And you always see the demon. She's gonna bow down. Ain't nothing more they can say to some of y'all. Ain't nothing I can say. Nothing I can show you. Why? You sold out to this. This is more important than this. Like they said, why should we keep this? And you wonder why our houses are desolate. Our temples destroyed. The laws, the statutes, and the commandments are missing from our communities. We got people all over the world, our people of all people, thinking that this is Hamashiach. Don't make a bit of sense. What is that? The figment of some heathen's imagination. This ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. The Hebrew people or Revelation tell you what he looked like. And Maury could get on here week after week, day after day, feast day after feast day, try to help wake up our people and show them this is what the Greek did. If I had time to read, I would read to you that in the Apocrypha, but also in the regular 66 books, it was prophesied that they would change the image of us, of Yah, of Hamashiach into their image. It was prophesied that this would happen. And you know our people still bowing down no matter how much truth is out here today. And during this time of rededication, we were supposed to be cleansing ourselves, which is our temple, to get ready for the one that's coming to do the killing. We're supposed to be getting ready to meet the king. I asked a question earlier. I'll say this on my way out. I asked the question. I said, what is this feast about? This feast boils down to who is the king? Antiochus Epiphanes or Hamashiach? Who do you follow? Whew. Well, I'm going to stop this video right now because, one, my mind is running 1,000 miles an hour, and I could literally talk to you all a lot longer because there's just so much that I want to tell you about, but I think I want to play something for you. Where is it? I was listening to this earlier. Was it this one? Let's see. It might be. Because Zion, it's time to wake up. Oh, tell me, is it?
Romans 13:11, King James Version. And that knowing the time that now is high time to awake out of sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we believe. They sleeping on me. Gotta wake them up. Gotta wake them up, man. Gotta wake them up. They sleeping on me. Gotta wake them up. Gotta wake them up, man. Gotta wake them up. They sleeping on me. Gotta wake them up.
They what?
Gotta wake them up, man. Gotta wake
They
them
sleep.
up. They sleeping on me. Gotta wake them up. Gotta wake them up, man. Gotta wake them up.
I gotta go. You guys gotta read the Bible. It won't be long, Zion. We're going home. Remember, this feast is so that we can dedicate our lives to Yah, and hopefully, before it's too late, one or two more Israelites, or those who believe who we are and believe who Yah is, and want to be grafted. Listen to this.
He chastens who he loves. He really don't want you comfortable, not even us in his work. He has a plan and he is working it through man, through us. And sometimes in order to understand what direction he's trying to pull us in, he got to turn up the fire on this melting pot. The Most High's people is struggling. This earth is currently given into the hands of the wicked. We are not having fun. We are not rich. We are not loving this life. We are shrouded in prejudices, poverty, and injustice. That's him whipping us straight. Because if we're comfortable here, we won't work for the kingdom to come and receive this wonderful eternal gift that he has set up for us. But see, your pastor ain't teaching that, is not. He teaching that if you broke, the Most High ain't blessing you. That the Most High don't favor you, ain't watching you, ain't worried about you, and ain't protecting you. He lying. You better open up your Bible and read it. The Most High's people, the Israelites, after they disobeyed and fell, they were poor. They was oppressed, held back, held down, and their enemies was wicked and thieves, rich and powerful, and they executed disorder and injustice over the land as the authority. You ever ask yourself what a bunch of Romans was doing in the Holy Land, bossing Hebrews around, giving them hell? Yeah, but we them same Hebrew Israelites, and they them same Romans. Somehow they got you believing that we one nation. Listen, if the Most High ain't whooping you, you ain't having no hard times, always had a silver spoon in your mouth, everything is always going your way, then you need to be worried. Because he chastens who he loves.
That brother laid it out, didn't he? I gotta go, Zion. Let's go out with this one. One love. We're gonna go out with Read It. Stay strong. We might come back with another video so I can show y'all. I can show you why it's important that we understand we're still in a struggle. It continues, but it won't be long. We're going home. Our King is coming. Put a 1 million in here. And shalom. Before you exit the video, if this has been helpful, send something to help the art. A gift of love and appreciation. Help support us. We made a commitment that we're going to help support you all the time. As much as we can, we're going to support Israel. We can work together, Zion, and keep putting out this information. Your gift to this work will not be in vain. We're going to keep putting out this information. And Yah, I pray that Abba Yah return it back to you, some 30, some 60, some 100 fold. Hallelujah. Shalom.
Forget about a PJ for no one there. Still these souls like a robbery. Feel like a pimp psychology. Collecting all your bread monopoly. Looking for the truth, come follow me. Words of a king, get a bird in life. Came to hell and sit, get a blind sight. Would you really want to wake up in the kingdom better fight? Cause the devil, he been looking at the better of the night. Think about it, busy, gotta bring it to your best. But everybody better get it book on day. Moving every mind, you can pass it to. Wrong with the spirit, not the lust of the flesh. Get it back, bump back,